Is the girl you're interested in seeing other guys? And what should you do about it if she is? If you're new to this channel, my name is Anna, also known as Wingman, and I help guys find the right girl. So if you are seeing someone who, maybe you're at the beginning of a relationship, or you're just courting or just dating and you're not sure if she's seeing someone else, or maybe she is seeing someone else, or maybe she's seeing a bunch of other guys, or maybe she's potentially seeing a bunch of other guys, this is the video for you. So stay tuned throughout, because I'm going to share an example of a situation that a viewer wrote in about, as well as my reply to him. And I'm actually going to just read it because that makes life easier for both of us. So he says, "Hi, I like this channel." Thank you. "I have a question. Bumped into this girl on Facebook. I'm 32 and she's 28. I'm going to interject as I go along. So that's actually a reasonable age difference. And yes, I will do another video on age difference, appropriate age difference. But 28 to 32 is kind of ideal because you're both at the same place in life, or could be at the same place in life. And it'll be a lot easier to talk about long-term goals like family and whether or not that's in the plan, and for when down the road that's in the plan. Anyways, that's an aside. So he's 32 and she's 28. Turns out we have a lot in common. Good communication, she initiates, that's a plus. So we chatted through like January to the end of April. Lots of communication. That's when she flew over to see me. So I don't usually like to say that communicating via text or any kind of IM messaging is really good for any length of time, because you really need to experience people in person to know how the chemistry is when you're actually together. The longer you let it play out before actually meeting, the less likely you will actually be a match in person. I know it can seem like it would go the other way, but most of the time it actually doesn't. So even if you at least FaceTime or Skype, that gives you a little bit more detail about the person's mannerisms, their voice, and all that sort of thing. So definitely try to meet sooner than later if you can. Now you do have a little bit of leeway if it's a long distance relationship, but if you're in the same town, you want to meet as soon as possible. January to April, okay, that's fair amount of time to be able to decide to meet in person. He continues saying, she said she liked it very much, the communication. The contact has continued since to this day. Here's the problem. When she was here, I saw her get texts from some other guy with 2 kissy emojis. She didn't send them back. I didn't care at that time, which you probably noticed, but maybe you did or didn't care. Turns out, some 2 days after she flew back, she told me she's invited some guy from another country to fly in to see her. So again, good that she's being honest. There's a couple things that she could be doing with this, and I think, did I put it in there? Yeah, she either is shit testing to see the reaction, to see how interested, or how, not even just how interested, but just how he would react to that information. Or she could be just like one of those rare unicorns that's straight up honest and pretty sure of herself and doesn't want to basically be a douchebag. So kudos to her if she's not being a douchebag. If she's just testing if she's shit testing a little bit here, then that's completely normal at this stage of the game, because she's also maybe gauging, which I didn't put in my notes here, but she may be gauging whether or not he is seeing other women. So, and I'll go into a little bit more about that in my reply to him. So she might have been testing him to see if he would say, I'm seeing other girls too, or whatever. So he asked, were those kissy emojis the guy that she had invited? I asked what he was like, and she told me. We'll go into that a little bit too. I saw a bunch of red flags, not for me, but for her. So normal, right? You want to not only protect your investment, but you want to protect her from harm if you really care about her. The guy's arrogant, disregards her, etc. I pointed it out and she was mortified, like, oh my God, how could I not see this? Which, it could be true, right? Like, especially at that age, she might be a little bit naive. A lot of women are when they're in their, teens and 20s still. I am logical, and so is she. That's how we can even communicate. Yeah, it's too bad that more women can't be more logical slanted. It's very difficult for women to be logical. It's just not our nature. It's not how our brains are actually built physiologically. Like, you're going to have to take up that up with God or whoever you believe the creator is, because that's just how we were built 80% of the time. So there's always the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time, a woman is going to have a feminine slanted brain and a man's going to have a masculine slanted brain. And of course, there's always the exceptions to the rule, but I would say I'm being generous when I say 80-20. And in other words, it might be 90-10. These days, in the younger crowd, like under 25, maybe even under 20, that's going to be a little bit different because the statistic will be a little bit different. It might be 80-20, it might be 70-30 because of the nature-nurture effect. In other words, we come in with a certain biology, but our biology can change based on our experiences and perceptions about those experiences in life. In other words, how we were raised, what our culture is, where we live, and that sort of thing. So there are more and more girls, and I mean girls, not women, who are having more masculine traits. And I don't mean being butch, but I mean there's a greater chance that women are going to start acting and thinking more like the traditional men have in the past, just because of the way that society has changed. So, a little digression there. Stay with me. We're getting to the juicy stuff later. Okay, so she withdrew the invitation and he didn't come. So I talked to her after, and I jokingly asked, so how many more orbiters like that have you got? By the way, I love that phrase, orbiters. That's awesome. Like that's a playful way of asking the question. She said 2. Recently, I asked again and she said none. Is this thing a go? Because it's like she has withheld no information and she communicates everything. The things I don't like, she changes. A little bit of a pink flag there. You don't want someone who's going to be completely malleable, because if she's changing for you in every instance against her own free will, like internally, because she's a people pleaser, she may come to resent that, and she will maybe eventually want to go back to who she really is. But if she's flexible, I don't mean yogi flexible, then yeah, that's a good thing, because we do have to compromise in relationships. That's just the way it goes. I also have another friend who's 21 and interested in me. What are your thoughts? Love the channel, subbed and liked. Thank you for subbing, liking, and commenting. By the way, comment and ask me your questions. I try to get to all of them. And yeah, I really enjoy reading all of your comments. So here's my reply. 1, thank you for watching, liking, subbing, and commenting. Just to reiterate that. 2, I'm gonna put this comment on my videos to-do list so others can benefit from the answers. Here we are. 3, open, honest communication is a good sign, even if that reveals she's seeing other guys. Keeping your doors open is healthy for both of you at this stage of the game. So just to expand on that a little bit, you still don't really know what it's like to be in each other's company for long periods of time personally, like in the same city, in the same, routine, in each other's same space. So it's really healthy, especially with long distance relationships, to continue to see other people until you're almost sure. In fact, 4, if she keeps coming back, that's a stronger foundation than if she bails on every other guy, but secretly wonders about them. When we choose someone out of our own volition, we look for ways to validate our choice rather than to second guess ourselves. People lean towards congruency. And so what I mean by that is that once we make a choice that's really of our own free will, then we like to back that up by continuing to move forward in that choice. This is why it's so hard to quit things that you put money into, for example. It's like throwing good money after bad. You've probably heard that expression. Well, it's really hard to bail on ourselves and our choices, because at some point in time, in order to move forward, we've convinced ourselves that it's a good idea. Now, if she moves forward without having it be her own free will, like if you say, no, you can't see other guys, we have to explore this first. Well, first of all, that sounds, well, not even sounds, it is really insecure and needy. But even if someone agrees to that, then they may later on wonder, what if? And you don't want to go into a relationship with a bag of what ifs, because that will eventually, potentially, high likelihood, 80% rule, come back and bite you on the butt. And so you would be in a better position to be able to allow it to be her choice to choose you. So that's what I mean by that. And then 5, be careful how you inquire about other guys. It can come off as insecurity if it feels like an interrogation. It seems like you've done an effective job so far. So she's been pretty honest about things, hopefully. If you've asked in a way that allows for her to be honest without feeling pressured, or without her feeling judged, or without her feeling like she's, going to get in trouble for it, just like guys, right? If a guy is interrogated by a woman, he's less likely to tell the truth because he doesn't want to have to deal with the consequences of what that truth might look like for her, instead of hoping that she just never finds out and it just kind of takes care of itself. So you want to be able to ask these types of questions, which are really about, I mean, it's not just about insecurity. You're genuinely curious about where you stand in the relationship, and it's okay to ask these questions as long as it's not like every other day. Maybe you want to ask them either infrequently or at certain stages of the relationship in terms of time or time spent together. So if you've been sort of seeing each other for a month and you know she's seeing other guys, just like he was asking her, then it's okay to ask again in another month or so. If she says, yeah, I've been seeing other guys. Okay, well, now we're still chatting, we're still seeing each other, we're still hoping to get together, or we are getting together. Now it's certainly an appropriate time to ask about who else she's seeing. I wouldn't ask too many times because it can just come off as really, well, just really insecure. So be careful about that. Number 6, assume not only that she's into you, but that she feels like she's the lucky one. Don't, of course, obviously you're not going to say this out loud, but if you believe this to be true, or if you can convince yourself, or even just imagine the possibility of it being true, even if you fake it, then your actions won't be as tainted as much by jealousy, and you'll be able to come across more playfully when you do ask these types of questions, because here's how you're going to deal with it, or if it comes up again. Number 7, if you're really confident within yourself, which is sexy AF, by the way, very sexy, confident within yourself, then you can continue to support her like a really decent brassiere in her exploration dating. If she still feels the need to test other ice cream flavors, but also subtly let her know you'll be doing the same thing, right? So that's not what most guys would do, right? They wouldn't encourage the girl they're interested in to continue to try other ice cream flavors. And I'm not talking about the act of any kind of sexual act, but just allowing her curiosity to take her where she feels she needs to go at this stage of the game. If there's no commitment, like you're just seeing each other, you're in the courting or maybe dating stages. It's different if you have an agreed upon commitment and you're actually in a relationship. And that's a different conversation. But here's an example. And you want to do this playfully and teasingly. So the next time it comes up organically, you can say, and it's got to come up organically. You don't want to like try to make it come up, because if you try to put this topic into a conversation that isn't where it actually goes, she's going to feel that awkwardness and know that you were just waiting and biding your time to bring this conversation up. So if it comes up organically, then you're going to say, hey, I know you need to date some other guys before you realize I'm your best choice. Wink, wink. I like that we can be open about who else we might be seeing. So here's the key point in this. You're being playful. You're not pressuring her. Because you're being playful and teasing about it, then it doesn't come off as insecure. A couple of other things to note about this statement is that that we can be open about who else we might be seeing. So we automatically tells her that you're still on the market too. Like you're still seeing other girls without having to say that out loud, because women, they speak hint 1,000 times better than men do. So she will definitely pick up on that. And the might be, who else we might be seeing, leaves your dating status vague. So you're not actually disclosing that you are or aren't seeing anyone else, but that you might be seeing other people. So if you're not seeing anyone else, that kind of makes her go, oh, wait a minute, I could lose this guy. And if you're not actually seeing anyone, by not revealing that part to her, if she thinks you're not seeing other girls, then she's going to assume that you're waiting for her. So you don't want that. If she's seeing other guys, you want her to wonder if you're seeing other girls as well, because then she'll have to really stop and think, okay, am I willing to risk losing this guy to some other girl potentially because I'm still testing other ice cream flavors, because I'm still being contacted by other guys? I mean, guess what, fellas? If she's attractive, if she's fun, if she's freaking got a vagina, she's going to be contacted by other guys. So you just have to deal with that unless and until you get into a relationship. I mean, if other guys want her, then of course, like if you want her, other guys want her. So that's just a reality of men and women. That's how it works. Sorry. Be proud. If you're the one that gets her, then be proud that you're the one that she chose. Relationship status vague. Vague equals mystery. What's the Wingman Motto? It's the Wingman Motto. If you've been here long enough, you should know this. Always leave them wanting more. Always leave them wanting more. You want to always leave them wanting more, because then it's their choice to come back to you. Number 8, if you're interested in a 21-year-old, explore it. Definitely don't take yourself off the market. If you're off the market, then your value goes down. Sorry, the longer you're on the market, the more your value goes down. So you definitely don't want to take yourself off the market, and you never know, you might meet somebody else who's even better. Just be honest. Be honest about it. Honesty, integrity, where has that gone, you guys? God, people are chicken shit. Because that's what it's about. It's about fear. Dishonesty is about being a weakling. So anybody, guys, watching this, is weak attractive? No, it's not. Strength. It takes strength and courage to be honest, especially because you might not like the outcome. 9, reality land check. Check your compatibility. Do your values, beliefs, and long-term goals align? For example, what are the chances one of you is going to move to the other person's city? You have to think about these things. And actually, like I said, in my next video, I'm going to share the 5 questions, and this is one of them, that you need to ask yourself if you are considering a long-distance relationship. And they're critical. So I'll do another video with that in it. So that was basically the gist of it. So what have we learned? We have learned that if you are seeing someone and in the beginning stages of a relationship, you should both be seeing other people until you're at a place in your relationship where you can actually legitimately have a conversation about monogamy. And the other big takeaway is that you don't want to ask too many questions about what the other person is doing unless you can reveal that it doesn't bother you. You're just looking for information so that you can act accordingly. So that's about where, you're seeing other guys. Okay, yeah, no worries, that's good. Just want to make sure we're on the same page so that, we both know that we're seeing other people. And then of course, number 3 is that if you are considering a long distance relationship, there are some things that you really need to consider if it's something that you want to have as a long-term relationship. And if you're seeing someone long distance, you probably have that in the back of your mind, because why would you see someone long distance for a short-term hookup? So definitely see each other in person as soon as possible, at least Skype or FaceTime. I'm just like dragging this out. I don't know why. I feel chatty today, probably because I'm going out. I think that's all I've got. So yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking through this freakingly long video. I'm probably going to edit some bits out, maybe. We'll see. Maybe I'll throw it up as a test video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.